Hey number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and today we're talking about For Honor again because I really believe that this game is good, still has a lot of potential for a lot of fun. I've been playing it for, I don't know, a lot of time now, since release to be honest, and I really like it. And one thing I really like about this game and I really appreciate is the development team because they always engage in trying to come up with new heroes, new factions like they did for the Chinese faction, but also expanding these factions and trying to balance up the game. I don't always agree with the balance things that they do. Like for example, I wasn't really happy with what they did with the Lawbringer, but apart from that, I appreciate that you can see that the game is still well alive and they keep on coming up with new season passes and new content. So I do believe that they should come up with a new faction now, because yeah, the Chinese faction was fun. I know that some people didn't like it in the forums, you can read there, but personally I didn't mind them. I mean, they're not my favorite faction. My favorite faction is the Knight, will probably remain the Knight factions, but I do believe that it would be great if they came up with a new season pass with a new entire faction. So what should the faction be? Well, here at this video I'd like to come up with some suggestions as a For Honor player since beta, ideas for factions. The first one is the Greek faction. I mean, I think this game would benefit so much from a full Greek factions, and I mean, that would be so epic. Even just saying it sounds cool. So how could this faction be? Well, as you know, this game, the heroes are divided in hero type or hero category. You always have to have a Vanguard, you have a hybrid, you have an assassin and a heavy. If they make a Greek faction, they should have a Spartan Warrior. I mean, obviously, that goes without saying. And I think I would put the Spartan as the heavy because they can arm him up with spear and shield, but big shield, like the Oblon, like really big. Now, should they go with full defense mechanics like with the Conqueror and the Warlord, or should they go for something more in the lines of the Black Prior with a counter and everything? Well, I'm not really sure. That would be up to them. For me, both would be cool, but I do think it would be a really cool heavy for the Greek faction, the Spartan. You know how it is, it's a fantasy setting, so if they want to start the Spartan and have him look a little bit like 300, I wouldn't like it, but I understand that the public would, so yeah, whatever, make him look like a freaking bodybuilder walking around, but definitely give us drops for higher tiers where we can have him fully covered in full bronze armor like a real Spartan would have been, because you know, real Spartans were professional warriors. So if you had a chance to see all Greek warriors in classical period in Greece, then obviously the Spartans would have been the best equipped and therefore the most armored, differently from what 300 did. But 300 is not a historical movie anyways, it's a fantasy based on a comic book, so I'm not complaining about that, but I'm just saying make both parties happy, make people who like 300 kind of fantasy approach to Spartans happy, make them whatever showing off their muscles, but also make people like me happy who like the actual Spartans and, you know, cover them up in bronze armor and let us have fun with that. Now, what about, for example, the Vanguard? Well, I would actually use the cities, to be honest. So I would go for an Athenian warrior. He could be wearing like lenothorax, so it's a little lighter, because the Vanguard tends to be a little lighter in the movements compared to heavies in this game anyways. And maybe don't give him a shield, although you probably should, historically speaking, but don't give him a shield, give him a typical Greek sword, and I think that would be a great Vanguard, still with, you know, Corinthian helmets and other kinds of like Greek helmets to choose from. That would be fantastic. Now, moving on to the hybrid. Well, okay, so for the hybrid, I think since for the Knights faction, the Lawbringer is not heavy, but is a hybrid. Just to remind you, a hybrid could have characteristics from a Vanguard and a heavy. It's like a little bit of an in-between. It has some strength points of both, but it also tends to have weaknesses from both. So they are harder characters to master. A Vanguard is more of a straightforward character that you can learn and easier to play. So as a hybrid, I would have like a character from Crete, so a Cretan, to use, well, now you say Cretan, but Cretan is the archaic way to say it. I think it sounds better in English. And it could be something like based on the legend of the Minotaur, like in the labyrinth of Crete. So it could be like a guy who's got like a helmet that looks like, I'm not saying he should be a monster, but he could have a helmet that looks like a Minotaur, and he might wield like a massive maul, like a big two-handed hammer, something like that. I think would be really cool. And to finish off as the assassin, someone from like a Mycenaean Athenian or someone from Ithaca could be cool, or Ithaki if you want to say it in Greek. Blades, not sure, I don't like assassins anyways in this game, I don't play any, but I would divide the faction into cities. I think it would make it easier to give us the feel of the Greek faction. Now, if the Greek faction is not an option, let's say they are like absolutely not, we don't want to do the Greeks, then another option for me would be to go for a full Roman faction. So what I mean by that is take the gladiator and the centurion away from the knights and add 2 more warriors and make an actual Roman faction. I think it would be better, because it's kind of weird that Romans and knights are together. I understand the law, whatever, but it's a different world, I understand that, but I think the Romans would deserve a full faction, in my humble opinion. And if they did that, the centurion we know is a hybrid, the gladiator is an assassin, and of course remember that in For Honor, when you say assassin, it's a type of warrior who is squishy, it's harder to defend, it has limited time to perform his guards, but deals a heck of a lot of damage, although they're easy to kill. Obviously gladiators weren't assassins, but in this game they are an assassin class, it's a different thing. We would still need a heavy and a vanguard, but as a heavy I would go for a legionary. I would say yeah, we have the centurion, but I would go for legionary, give him a similar sword to that of the centurion, but give him a full scutum. So different gameplay. I understand it would still be a gladius wielding warrior, but completely different gameplay, but mostly focus on the shield, focus on counters, focus on heavy defense, and that would be great. And also would be cool if in the sort of gear, the drops that we can get, we could choose whether we want to have him wear lorica segmentata or lorica hamata, so the mail that the Romans used. That would be great if we could choose between both. And then as a vanguard I would just put an auxilia, so auxiliary troops with a round Parma shield, maybe give him a spear of some kind like an asta, and a mail definitely. So I think, or scale if you want to go with the Trajan column, if you want to, for the archers, whatever, so, you know, scale and mail as options. That would be great. That would be full Roman faction. I would love it. Now if that's still not an option, then I have 2 more. One more option could be the Middle Eastern faction. So we've got Asians, like Far East with both Chinese and Japanese. We've got Western with both the Scandinavians, the North with the Vikings, and the Knights, of course the Romans. So it would be cool to have a Middle Eastern faction. And what I would do with that, like as a heavy, I would go for a Saracen. So put him in armor, give him a massive 200 curved sword, and there you go, you've got your heavy. As a vanguard, you can come up with something more like a Sultan, based on Arabic warriors. That would be really cool. For the assassin, something like Persian, based on, like, you know, Prince of Persia kind of thing. I loved those games. That guy could jump, and very, very dexterous, since, you know, it's still a fantasy thing. And then as a hybrid, I would go for one of those Islamic warriors that fought against the Crusaders. So, you know, again, full mail, but with the sword and shield, curved sword and shield, and, you know, give him the half moon symbols. And then we could have some proper Crusader action in game. I mean, imagine that. I think that would be a very cool idea. And if Middle Eastern is not an option, then go for African. And with African, since Africa is massive, I wouldn't just focus on Northern Africa. I would say just African in general. So you could have, I would put as a vanguard, I would put an Egyptian warrior with a kopesh as a sword, you know, quick pace, very agile kind of vanguard. As heavy, I would go for a Zulu warrior, proper Black Africa warrior, and give him shield and spear. Then as an assassin, I would put some sort of African hunter, maybe just with spear with no shield, and maybe different length of spear. You know, hunter was used to killing crazy wild animals, and so it's really cool. It's actually really agile and strong in combat, like stuff that he really got into from his environment. And then as a hybrid, I would put some sort of Ethiopian warrior. That could be an idea. So these are my suggestions: a Greek faction, full Roman faction, Middle Eastern, or African. And I think they were all cool. I mean, I would love them. I would play them all, to be honest. I think Greek would be my favorite choice. Like, it's really epic. But if that's not an option, I would be happy with any of the ones that I said. You know, I'm a sucker for Roman stuff, so full Roman faction. I think the Romans do deserve their faction. If that's not an option, Middle Eastern or African, I like both equally. They would be both really epic to play. So that's my opinion. That's what I think. What do you think, noble ones? Please let me know in the comments below. Do you still play this game? And I hope, you know, if you like these ideas, please share this video everywhere so we can see if Ubisoft actually sees it. Because if they do, You never know. I might inspire them, you know? They might actually do it. If you like these ideas, please make sure to share this video on forums and whatnot, and let's see if they do. And I hope they do, because For Honor is a great game. It really is one of my favorite. Alright then, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember the thumbs up, and if you're yet still not members of this community, become a noble one. Subscribe to my channel for more content from the Metatron. And remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.